in all the time, the 4.5 years I've been a councillor, we've gone through consultation processes. This one, by quite a bit, has exceeded the number of submitters. And if we're going to argue that 99% didn't, that's a reflection, as you said, Madam Chair, of the timing. We've talked about that long and wide. But also the point that those who approved didn't submit. Well, then if we go back to the previous triennium where we had the Maori ward consultation, that was the opposite. And that was actually never raised as a point. So I think it's relatively poor. And I apologise to our submitters and to the public that we once again have failed in a consultation process that I believe landed where the public wanted us to land, those who took the time and effort to submit.
Councillor.
Brief reply?
Yes.
I think Councillor Van Baker is dead right that we cannot take into account the views and preferences of those who did not submit. What we can take into account is the views and preferences of those who did and the information that we've got from the staff and make our judgment accordingly. I believe that's what I've done and that's where I landed.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Councillor Foley.
Thanks, Chair. I just want to use this opportunity to talk to that table that everyone spoke to me afterwards, previous motion on that table. So I heard, I think it was Councillor Harding spoke around the, a lot of the information we've had over this time has contradicted itself. And so I requested a random property sample at Pronghove Village, and its CV was its land value was 125, its CV was 290. So as you can see, one of the last ones in that yellow socioeconomic, yellow low socioeconomic rating, and it came out at a 17% rate rise. So I'm just wasn't quite sure myself how much weighting to put on that table. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Riley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just further to what has already been said, that a lot of our submitters, in fact, nearly the majority of our submitters alluded to the affordability issue and the challenges around paying their rates. I'm not sure that that's what's being discussed and decided on here. That is actually our LTP discussion about how much goes into the buckets. That this discussion is more about first principles and reflecting the work that we do. And whilst I absolutely hear that there is a cost of living and a cost of doing business crisis, this is not the place to fix that. And so I'm just putting on the table that we need to be very mindful of what we actually are deciding and whether those submitters were submitting to the process that we're doing now, or whether they got waylaid by the burden that they're facing of just living anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Are there any further speakers? Councillor McIntosh.
Just a comment in respect to Councillor Van Bake's comments. I have a great deal of sympathy for the extent to which people submitted and feel uncomfortable about that aspect of it, but am persuaded by the sheer fact of human nature being that if you're in favour of something, usually you don't respond. You could say it's your fault and you'll get a bad outcome, but I do feel obligated to that sector as well. The final thing I would say is a lot of what we've discussed is around affordability, and as we know, there are much bigger fish to fry in that regard when we come to deciding what our rate increase is going to be.
Thank you, Councillor McIntosh. There are no other speakers. There are none. What is on the table of recommendations 1, 2, 3 and 5? All those who agree say aye. Aye. Those against?
No.
Could you raise your hands just for counting? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Have you got those?
Thank you.
Martin, thank you.